Howdy, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at this SpaceJunk Sabers Adept from the Star Wars Jedi Academy video game. This is the second one I've done for this client. I think they sold that first version, and the nice thing was when they commissioned Nevin to do another one, Nevin was able to open up a little bit more diameter, give us an opportunity to use a bigger battery, a bigger speaker, and then obviously have cutouts. So one of the things we decided to do is to take advantage of the cutouts and design a brass crystal chamber and have that printed off. So we'll talk about that when we come down to the table. But yeah, really cool design. Just a slightly different than the first take. On the first take, Nevin had some sort of like antique brass feature here. And so he went closer to the game model where it was like this two-tone, you know, cut shroud, but a lot of cool layering effects. Almost the exact same setup here at the bottom. So we have this interesting unscrewable pommel that's fully vented for sound. Also has a spot for, you know, Neopixel accent, but pretty much the same as the first time I did this. Just a little bit easier this time around. So let's hop down to the table. Let's take a look at the chassis, talk about what went on with the design and the install, show off a couple accent styles down there with all of the different greeblie effects. And then we'll come back out, we'll pop a blade in it, show off a few blade styles just to demo that it works, and then wrap it up. So let's do that. Let's hop down. So yes, once again, the Adept, this is the version 2. So I made another version of the plaque that I had done before on these anodized business cards and just gave it, you know, a version 2. A long time ago, I had done a series of plaques for Nevin's run of corn horns, so he gave me a signature to put on that. And way back when we did the first version of the Adept, this was that design. So I just popped a V2 on here and then remade the that so that we could show this one off just like the old one. But yeah, the really cool feature is this crystal chamber. So we've got some brass in there. Used a new company through Craft Cloud, but the main feature, I don't know if you can see it, is we're using a Shtok NPXL matrix, so 64 1x1 neopixels there. But how do we get to everything is we pull the pommel off. It unscrews just like it did before. On this one, however, we do have an alignment pin. So if I show that off real quick, we can see. Here, let's bump this up a little bit more. You can see down in the bottom, if I get the lighting just right, there is that screw. You can sort of see the tip of it there. And that aligns with this slot on our chassis. Now, do be mindful that, you know, we're going across the face of the crystal chamber. So if it rotates at all after it gets past there, it could miss the alignment. But I haven't had any issues. It pretty much just plops right in there to there once you get that first one in. But if it does give you any trouble, you can just pull it back out and then make sure you're aligned. So there we go, just like that. So yeah, pretty neat. Allows for us to get this onboard nanopixel PCB. This one is from Shtok. I think the first time I did this, I had one from Shadow Foil Props. On this side of the chamber design, here, we'll pull this back down. We have a 2020 strip separated into 3 subblades. And then on this side, we have a filament. We had a filament on the old one. It was just a different design. And so this one I made a little bit simpler to go along with my baffle greeblie with the heat stain pigments. This is in the pink color to kind of match my client's like company's logo. This is House of Corellia. And then in that vein, I also bought a purple Proffie V3.9. Now, when I was doing this chassis, kind of thinking about the old one, we weren't really able to fit online or onboard tactiles. On this one, it's possible I could have got them in here, but I was, you know, I already had this chassis kind of ready to go, and then there was definitely a need. So I epoxied on this onboard aux switch so that while the chassis is out,
Ninth sister,
we can scroll through our presets, because obviously with the chassis out, you can still use gesture control if you just want to turn the saber on and off and have some cool effects. But if we want to go through all the presets and see all the cool, you know, accent styles, then we got to do that aux.
Hi, Mirror.
So I use these tiny 32 or 34 gauge leads so that nothing sticks out, and it's very much low profile with comparison to like the USB chamber. So even though it's an afterthought, it's hardly noticeable at all. But we have our kill switch. 28mm KR bass speaker. So again, this is a bigger speaker than we were able to fit before. It sounds phenomenal because it's fully enclosed. And then obviously we've got the full area of the pommel vented. And so with this on there, we've got about a 1/2 inch or more of resonance chamber inside the hilt. So this thing sounds great. But like I said, the main feature is this really cool brass cast crystal chamber. So I took a couple cues from, you know, the greats out there, Shtok, Goth, and then I took this knurling on the chamber rods from Tim at Tierfon Orbital. And yeah, just some, like these chamber rods I used on a previous chamber for this client a long time ago. But yeah, you got that NPXL matrix in the back, and you can see all 64 lighting up. Now, I'm using 15% dim blade, so this thing is super bright if you want to pump it all the way up to 100, but there's no need because it's really blowing out that real quartz crystal. But yeah, really cool design and paint job. Obviously splashes of color here and there. I tried to match the kind of gunmetal aesthetic, but also bring in some, you know, copper tones and some, you know, splashes of color with some brass and silver. But we've got our Shtok Rotary PCB set so that we can get access to the Kalymian Custom Sabers. Now, Nevin supplied these, and I don't know if he anodized or painted the this switch, but this is going to be our aux switch, and this is going to be our activation switch. And then it comes with a blade plug. Now, I need a tool, and I left that in the other room. So it's got this blade plug here on the side. We've got 2 set screws. You don't have to engage both of them, but you might want to, or take one of them fully out because if you're not going to need it, because it's sort of a thin wall that it's going through. So just be mindful of that when you're screwing and unscrewing the blade or the blade plug, because the set screws could drop out. So there's our little blade plug. And we are using the Goth3D G-pix emitter. So if we put the saber or put the chassis back in again, going to use that alignment, and then put our pommel on, and then we'll get off animations. So this one is a little bit different. So you can see I've sub-bladed it like I do for this client into 3 rings, each doing its own thing. It comes with the little diffusion plate on there. A little different animation here on this one. And you can see the pommel light up there. So yeah, this is a 7/8 blade holder. And again, you have about an inch and a quarter of blade depth. So not a dueling saber, especially with the thin wall that the set screws, so you can see how thin it is. There's only a few threads that engage, but let's do that. Let's hop out. Let's put a blade in it and show off some blade styles. I have this program for a 36-inch blade. I'm going to use my quantum blade with the more densely spaced pixels. And I will engage both set screws just so that one of them doesn't fly out. And just like with everything, we've got gesture on. If you use a gesture, then you're in battle mode. So you engage a lockup until you pull away. But you do have like a threshold where light taps will still be like blaster blocks. Let's do this. Let's go to the first.
Party saber.
So if you point the hilt down, you go backwards. Again, this is a return customer, so all these programming things are repetitive to them, but this is to the viewer out there just to show off how cool these things can behave if you decide to program that way. This is party mode. So party mode uses the special abilities. So if we hold power and twist to the right, we get our transition sound. So now we're in party mode, which means heavy accent swings will change the blade color. Oh, actually, I turned it off. There we go. There we go. And what I've done is I've programmed the crystal to match. So anytime you get a different blade color, you're going to get the matching crystal color. But it does have a little bit of animation to it. And then it also responds to blaster blocks, clashes and such. But yeah, so that's party mode.
Ninth sister.
Ninth sister's fun. She's got a beefy hum, which my lapel probably doesn't do justice, but sounds great on the hilt. Holding the power for 2 seconds when the blade's on. Like I said, you get a force effect. Oops, I just turned it off. On this one, it goes full bright. On others, it goes unstable, but this one's already kind of an unstable, so it just chose to do something different. But if we want to flip between force player and quote player, point the hilt down, hold power for 2 seconds.
I find you, I'll skin you and serve you up to Lord Vader.
And now you'll get quotes if your font folder has quotes, which I've set this up to do so. So again, hold power.
Desperate Jedi. Beautiful.
Now, the blade won't animate on a quote because it's not playing a force effect. So if we want to switch back, point the hilt down. Now we're back into force effect. So that's that. This one also has special abilities, but it has the crystal bleed. So if we do the same hold power twist to the right. Same thing on this one. The crystal will match once it gets all the way through its bleed process. So you can see that matches now.
My name is Jord Fandar, Knight of the Jedi Order.
Kelnaka.
Master Varestra.
That was Cortosis Clash, another special ability.
Padawan Torben. Master Indara.
So all of the Acolyte series will do that.
Hello, Master. It's been a while.
Now we're getting towards the end. We've got Ahsoka. You can see the crystal chamber on that one. If we hold aux and tap power, we'll get our battery level.
Battery level, 26%.
And then if we hold power and tap aux, we'll get our volume menu.
Enter volume menu, maximum volume.
We can twist to the left to reduce it, and then leave it on the max.
Exit volume menu.
Each character should, if there was a voice pack that Brian Connor created, I've put it into the font folder.
Shinhachi.
So if we do this one.
Battery level 27%. Ezra?
Battery level 26%.
But yeah, that is the Saber. So again, to the customer, thank you very much for your patience on this one. I know we waited quite a bit, not only to get the casting done, but to even get started. But I appreciate you coming back to me so we can get this one done. That is it. When we're ready, we can undo the pommel and then hit our kill switch. Everything turns off and we're ready for long-term storage. To the customer, thanks again for your patience, and to anyone else out there, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.